New Fortnite season comes with a brand new meta, and today I'm going through how you can dominate early on in the season and tell you exactly what this season's secret meta is. I've done a ton of different tests and tried all the new weapons and items, as well as landed at all the new POIs, so I can tell you not just the best weapons, but the best loadouts and the best places to be landing on the map, as well as some places that you should definitely avoid. Without any more waffling, let's get right on into it. Kicking it off with weapons. Which shotgun is the best to take? Which one is the worst? Should you take the new blade? Should you not? I'm going to answer all of them here today. First of all, which shotgun is the best to take this season? I have personally been able to test them all out and come to the conclusion that, no surprise here, the new pump shotgun is the best to take. This is the most rewarding shotgun for someone who has good shotgun aim. Over the seasons, we have seen a few shotguns where it was actually better to aim for the body, but this season, the pump really does reward hitting the head. The mythic one does something like 250 to the head, which is a full-on one pump. So players that hit max damage shots will find a lot of success with this shotgun. As long as you're not playing too quick and flicky, I have found you should really enjoy this shotgun in general. The problem was, when I tried to play quick and flicky, I found that I'd often struggle a lot with hitting shots. But when I started to take it a little bit slower with the shotgun, I found to enjoy it a lot more. I've personally been ADSing with the shotgun when I get a chance to, and I've had a ton of success with it. When you aim down sights with the shotgun, it seems to be the perfect size to hit all the pellets on your opponent. So my personal recommendation when it comes to the new pump is taking it a little bit slower with the shotgun and just making sure you're hitting those max damage shots, because you will be rewarded for it this season a lot more than you were in previous season. My personal favourite part about the new shotgun is just the ability to punish aggressive players. So I said before I was taking it a bit more slow with the shotgun. So what I mean by this is I've been sitting back, boxing up with the shotgun, and when players attack your walls, you can really easily just double edit out the top or make a window edit and just hit people over 100 damage with ease. The other shotguns we've had in the game now are the combat. To be honest, the combat shotgun isn't 100% the meta. Maybe in zero builds it's a good shotgun, but for competitive in general, the combat just doesn't seem to hit hard enough, especially as good players can punish you so hard with that new pump. It's just not worth taking it. And that's the exact same with the Maven Auto as well. It just doesn't seem to hit enough damage. I think these two shotguns are more in the game for the zero build sides of things more than they are for the competitive side. I think the competitive shotgun this season is definitely the pump, so get yourself used to the pump more than any other shotgun in the game. Now let's move on to the AR meta. Just to sum it up quickly, the AR meta this season is red dot. We've had a new AR come into the game this season, and let's be honest, if you've used it, it's not the best. On the outside, it looks like a standard AR. When you actually use it and you see the recoil, it's just completely ridiculously high. With this thing, it just hits little bits of tap damage. If you are going to use it, definitely just tap with it. Don't sit there spamming it, because you're not going to get much success. But I'm fairly sure this will definitely get a buff a little later down the line. But currently, it's fine if someone's 100 health and you pick it up off the bat. But when you're going towards mid-game and end-game and people are 200 health, realistically, it's just going to be so hard to 200 to 0 someone with this new AR. At the moment, the mythic one is in comp. I'm not 100% sure if the bot spawns anywhere on the map, but I landed Mega City and he spawned in randomly and just dropped a key card as well as the gun. So I think he just spawns at Mega City maybe. But when I opened the vault, there was a mythic pump in there, so definitely go open the vaults if you find the guy who's holding the key card. But to sum it all up, the best AR in the game this season is the Cobra DMR. It hits for really good damage. The purple one, I think I picked up, did like 42 damage to the body, which is super good. And then I believe it has a ×2 multiplier for the head, meaning it does 84 damage for headshots. So you can pretty much wipe someone out who's 200 health in 3 shots. If you dislike the Cobra DMR, then the other alternative I would recommend is the Pulse Rifle. It's also a great AR, especially if you've used it in some of the previous seasons and you're a bit more familiar with it and you do like it. It's definitely worth giving it a shout. But I mean, I've only personally been able to find the mythic one so far, and I found that from the floating island by claiming the flag, and it did 38 damage to the body. I'm not sure how much it does to the head, but I'm going to assume, again, this is a ×2 multiplier as well. So if you're not a red dot fan, then the Pulse Rifle, I don't think it's going to be a bad shout this season. Could be a great little combo, Pulse Rifle, Cobra DMR, but overall, I don't think it's too bad. Now, a lot of you do like taking SMGs, but with SMGs this season, let's be honest, I don't really think they're worth taking. I'd rather have a blade for rotate than carry an SMG personally. So I would probably say SMGs will not be meta in comp this season, but people may look to take an SMG rather than an AR, especially as all the ARs in this game tend to be quite far back, with the Cobra DMR and the pulse rifle being meta. So I say SMGs are not meta, but it's definitely worth giving it a try. It might be better for some of you more aggressive players, especially in WK games, taking one over an AR. But my personal ideal loadout this season would consist of a Cobra DMR or pulse rifle, or like I said before, you could maybe switch this out for an SMG if you want, a pump shotgun, the new blade. I'll get into why when I talk about mobility in a minute, as well as 2 sets of meds, preferably splashes, or if you're able to get that new perk which gives you the slurp bottles, then it's definitely worth going for that. Right, now let's move on to mobility this season. In comp, we do not have anything like motorbikes or cars, thankfully, but last season the meta for rotates was the shockwave hammer. This season it is worth taking a blade instead. I mean, I personally think the blade is great for rotating with. The way you want to use it to rotate is by building up, then just dashing off the top. I know this might be a bit hard to do in endgame, but maybe just place 1, or if you're lucky and can get 2 ramps up and just dash off the top. You'll get a ton of distance and rotate really far, especially with these new zones. You barely even have to rotate very far anyways. I know what you're thinking though, Taven, what if I take full damage? You're telling me to literally just build up and just go off the top and take a load of full damage. Don't worry, I've got you covered with the test. You don't take any full damage when using this, so take this information as you wish. You definitely will not be seeing me mid-air sky basing with the thing. Who said that? Anyways, the actual blade itself as a weapon, is it good or bad? Well, I definitely will not be using it personally. I thought it was awful. I tried to dash into someone's box with it, and sadly, it just did not break the whole box. It broke the front wall, and he just replaced it instant. So I'm sure Martos will find some broken strategy with it, but when I was testing the actual dash to break the walls, overall, it did not seem that good, and to be completely honest with you, it just got me killed. Maybe it was a bad fight, but I refused to use it when fighting again. Now, let's move on to the actual map itself. The map has got a lot bigger. I'll put a picture on screen now which shows the bottom area and what that looked like before, as well as what it looks like now, so you can see how much bigger it really has got this season. We saw 4 new POIs, wiping out 1, which means we have an additional 3 POIs, as well as have a load of extra splits. After looking into them all, I would say avoid the orange areas of the map. Places like Shattered Slabs, Breakwater Bay, before these were great spots to land and get a hammer, but now shockwave hammers are out of the game. Unless they put a guaranteed mythic pump at one of these spots, they're just not worth landing at. They're not very good, mainly down to the lack of metal there. That's the biggest problem with these spots. So it meant you had to sacrifice metal to get the shockwave hammer, which when shockwave hammer was meta, it definitely was worth it, but now it's just not worth it at all. So that's why I love the new biome. This season it has a lot more metal than the orange biome does in the map. It's more spread out as well now, and there's being more areas means there's a lot more loot around the map. You'll find a lot less people landing at your spot this season, which was a massive issue last season. The amount of times when my drop spot was contesting the solo cup by about 5 teams, I only land 3 little buildings. It was literally ridiculous. So I'm recommending anywhere to land. I would definitely try out some of the cool little spots over in the bottom right area of the map in the new biome. There's some really great splits there you can make if you look around for them, or just send it for one of the POIs. Either way, you should get decent loot from that bottom right area. Now, I want you to have a look into places like Slappy as well. I think this will be massively underlooked this season. We understand how much loot this had. I think it had like 3 people on there in FNCS. And now we got all these new POIs as well. It's definitely worth a try if you want a solid drop spot. But I'm going to bring a full drop spot video out soon, where I'm just going to go through the best drop spots on the map. So make sure to subscribe if you do want to see that. Well, I'll go through all the best splits on the map currently, as well as some of the best POIs to look at. But I think this will definitely be massively underrated this season. Now, the last thing I want to talk about the new map is some of the zones I experienced when I was playing Arena. Now, first of all, I think we're all aware they have now got, I think it's 12 zones, meaning you don't have to rotate as far when it comes to those moving zones. The biggest problem I found in Arena is some of those zones. I think the worst one I got was one that pulled right into knotty nets at the very bottom of the map. So just watch out for that max pull zone right to the bottom of the map, because they could really mess you over. Now, let's move on to augments. We're seeing a range of new augments this season, from sliding for medium ammo to camping for loot, but are any of the new ones actually worth taking? Earlier, I recommend taking the blade, and one of the new perks is the ability to refresh the cooldown after picking up a kill with it. Now, most of you are thinking, well, if I'm taking the blade, this is worth taking, but I would personally not use it. I've tested it out, and the amount of kills you get with the blade just won't be enough, especially as currently the blade cooldown is just super low anyway. It's 10 seconds. I mean, you don't really necessarily need it at this current state in the game. I do definitely think this will be nerfed. I think the cooldown will go from 10 seconds to 20, 25 seconds, and then from there onwards, it might be worth having a look about it, maybe in duos where you can finish someone with it, but at the moment, this perk is just useless. Just wait 10 seconds for the cooldown. It's not that long, so definitely I won't be taking it, at least this season. The next perk is one very similar to Splash Medic, where you get slurp bottles when opening chests. If you get this, I would probably take it, especially if you find it off spawn. It's a great perk, and again, if you can get capped slurp bottles, this is some brilliant mobility to rotate with. In total, I think we got 7 new perks. I'm just going to quickly go through all of them, and if they're worth taking or not. First one is dumpster diving. If you're in frenzy fields, or you find yourself around that area, and you need some meds, this is 100% worth taking. You can jump in any of the hay piles and get given big pots, minis, ammo, and just a load of stuff. So 100% worth taking if you're in the frenzy area, or you land frenzy. It's the first perk that pops up. For the most POIs though, I'd probably give this one a miss. Next one is treasure hunter. This is where all the chests get pinged. I mean, this is not the best perk in the world, if I'm being honest. Maybe if you got rebooted and you've got this perk pop up, it might be worth taking. Apart from that, I don't really see the point of it too much. Moving on to Slap Surplus, this was the one I already talked about. And if you find it, I'm definitely going to be probably taking it this season. It's a great way to get mobility, and it's similar to the Splash Medic one. Next one is Medium Ammo Amp. This is where your weapons use medium ammo, have an increased size. I mean, you can take it if you want, but I don't have too much of an issue with the current amount of medium bullets. I don't know if this means they're going to bring something out in the future, which might have only a few AR bullets or something. They might be hinting at that, but I'm not sure. I don't see a massive use for this. I mean, you can take it if you want, but I don't usually have too much of an issue, especially as it's a Cobra DMR season. Maybe if you got the pulse rifle, it could be worth having a look at, but apart from that, it's not massively overrated. It's not going to win you a ton more fights. Then the last two, shotgun recycle and the blade finish one, both of which I think are fairly useless. I think more perks will be coming out throughout the season, so definitely keep your eyes peeled for some new ones later down the line. But currently, the newly added perks are not the greatest, apart from that Slap Surplus. A lot of them seem to be a bit more situational, so it's not 100% take every time. It's more worth taking if you need it and you're scuffed, or if you're in certain parts of the map. And last but not least, let's get onto that fighting meta. I mean, I already talked about it a lot when it came to the shotguns, when I was talking about that and how to fight using the new shotgun. So quite similar to what I said before, players that are good at hitting headshots in fights will be rewarded this season, and players at TavenUK super brain dead will be punished, which I personally quite like. Some seasons you've been able just to hop in people's boxes when you have a big health advantage and win every time. With the max damage pump shot being so high this season, it's definitely rewarding players to be a bit slower. Apart from that, fighting seems very similar to before, unless there's some massive changes happen. At the moment, fighting doesn't seem too different. It's mainly just about fighting with that shotgun and being a bit more slower and not so brain dead. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video. I will be releasing a best drop spots video soon, so make sure if you're not already, you've clicked the subscribe button. I might do the best splits and the best drop spots video. We'll see. If that's what you want, then comment down below if you'd like to see that. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, you may also like this video on screen now.